Today on the spot, it's a handheld double demo day with a look at Phantasy Star Portable 2 and Nights in the Nightmare. We check out what's new this week on Wii Shop Channel and get the new releases hitting store shelves. Today on the spot.
Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Today on the Spot for Tuesday, August 31st. I'm Sophia Tong, and joining me is Sean McInnes, who's been gone for weeks.
I've been gone, 2 weeks technically.
2 weeks.
I was in Germany for Gamescom, which was a lot of fun. Checked out some really intense PC strategy games.
Oh, awesome.
That was really cool. And then we ate some pork knuckle, which you might not have heard of the concept of pork knuckle.
I didn't even know pork has knuckles.
Yeah, I didn't know either, but apparently the pork knuckle, whether imaginary or not, is completely delicious. I recommend it.
Well, welcome back. You made it
Thank
back
you.
just in time for our PlayStation Move Marathon that's going to happen tomorrow at 4.
That's right. We're going to be playing the Move until, I don't know, until the ball falls off the little wand thingy.
Oh gosh, that thing is pretty distracting. I've been seeing McShay waving around all day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and also next week we're going to have a THQ GameSpot WWE event. There's going to be a roster reveal. Homer's going to be there. And we have a lot of great stuff coming up in the show, but first let's kick it off with the GameSpot News Desk.
Hello everyone, this is your GameSpot news update for Tuesday, August 31st. I'm Tom Magrino, filling in for Tor Thorson, who is currently humming along to Ride of the Valkyries. Remember way back when console games were still $50? Pretty rad, right? Yeah, it's not around anymore. Well, what about when Xbox Live Gold was still $50 a year? Wait, was that past tense? Bringing premium access to the Xbox 360's online platform in line with the price of the console's games, Microsoft announced this week that Xbox Live Gold accounts will now cost $60 a year in the US. Pour a little salt on that wound, that's $10 a year more to access such features as online play, Netflix streaming, Facebook, Twitter, and Last.fm. The new rate will go into effect November 1st, but Xbox Live gamers will at least be offered a deal to renew their subscriptions right away. Microsoft is offering annual subscriptions for $40 until the new pricing takes effect. It's also worth noting that the month-by-month plan price is also rising from $8 to $10, with 3-month plans going up from $20 to $25. Microsoft's price is going up, Nintendo's are coming down. On the same day that Microsoft detailed Xbox Live's price hike, Nintendo announced a $20 permanent price cut for the DSi and the DSi XL, which have both experienced anemic sales in 2010. Beginning September 12th, the third and fourth generations of Nintendo's current-gen handheld will retail for $150 and $170 respectively, while the workhorse DS Lite retains its $130 price point. One last bit of hardware news for today. Fighting game elitists may no longer get all snooty about the Xbox 360, as Microsoft will be releasing a new wireless controller for the system that features a redesign for the gamepad's much maligned D-pad. The tweak comes courtesy of a twist, which raises the D-pad from a flat, unobtrusive disc to an elevated plus sign that is designed to offer more precise control. The new gamepad will be available in the US on November 9th, though it will only be sold as part of a 65 bundle that includes a play and charge kit. Alright, that does it for today. For more on these stories and other news headlines, head on over to news.gamespot.com.
So it looks like the holiday season's coming up. We got 2 big releases, Metroid Other M, Valkyria Chronicles 2.
That's right. I mean, August is just about over. September is right around the corner. So like you said, a lot of big games coming out. And to see the full list, let's check out this week's new releases.
This week in new releases, the fall's major release, Halo Reach, is now just 2 weeks away, but gamers looking for something new this week have a number of options, including Nintendo's Deep Space Bounty Hunter game, Metroid, a PSP tactical role-playing game, and a zombie prequel adventure. Leading the pack this week is Team Ninja's Metroid Other M. Coming exclusively to the Nintendo Wii, the game casts players as Bounty Hunter Samus and a narrative set between Super Metroid and Metroid Fusion. First unveiled at the 2009 Electronic Entertainment Expo, the game is set on the Hostile Battleship, where players will face a large variety of beasts and bosses. Also coming to retail this week is Valkyria Chronicles 2 for the PSP. From developer Sega, the sequel is set 2 years after the original and thrusts players into an ongoing civil war between the game's factions. Valkyria Chronicles 2 released in Japan in January and will be available in North America on UMD and as a digital download through the PlayStation Store on August 31st. Switching to the downloadable game front, 2 years after developer The Behemoth released Castle Crashers on Xbox Live, Our favorite knights in shining armor are finally arriving at the PlayStation Network. The title hits Tuesday, so start your button-mashing warm-up exercises now. As for foaming at the mouth zombies, Capcom releases Dead Rising 2 Case Zero exclusively on Xbox Live this week. Case Zero is a $5 downloadable prequel to the events of Dead Rising 2, which is due out at the end of September. The game focuses on protagonist Chuck and daughter/Zombrex addict Katie. The title gives players a first look at the large-scale zombie battles that will take place in the full game. Additionally, players can reach up to level 5 in Case Zero and are able to import experience and cash into Dead Rising 2. For the point-and-click adventurer, this Tuesday, the 5th episode in the latest Sam & Max series drops. Telltale Games' Sam & Max The Devil's Playground Episode 5, The City That Dares Not Sleep, comes to PC, Mac, and PS3. The game continues the frenzied adventures of the unlikely dog and rabbit crime-solving duo. For further details on the week's games, visit GameSpot's new releases page. Release dates are based on retailer listings and are subject to change.
So if you're not going to be busy playing Metroid Other M, there's a ton of other Wii games coming out, so let's find out what's happening this week on the Wii Shop Channel.
This week on Wii Shop Channel. In WiiWare, get stretchy with Tales of Elastic Boy Mission 1. Black clouds have descended over the world of the slimes. Take on the role of Mookie and use your stretchy arms to swing, punch, and roll your way to the bottom of this mystery. Battle through 7 single-player worlds and 5 multiplayer modes to complete your mission. In Nintendo DSiWare, hop into a space fighter with Cosmos X2. This classic side-scrolling space game will task you with defending your planet against an alien invasion. Battle your way through the solar system to an alien homeworld over 6 levels. Equip your ship with 2 devastating weapons to save your people. When your people have been saved, jot that down with My Notebook Pearl. My Notebook allows you to take notes wherever you go. Just pop open your Nintendo DSi system and jot down your thoughts. Make a list and cross it off. Personalize your notebook by drawing on the cover and changing the paper with 24 different unlockable paper styles. Finally, pick up piano with music on Learning Piano. Learn works by famous composers including Beethoven, Pachelbel, Bach, Strauss, and Verdi as you become a stylus-wielding musical genius. An entire orchestra follows your performance of 15 great classics. Earn the bronze, silver, and gold medals for each song. That's all the time we have, folks. Tune in next week for more This Week on Wii Shop Channel.
Alright everybody, we've showed you new releases and we've showed you what's going on the Wii this week. Now it's time for your first daily demo of the show. This one is Phantasy Star Portable 2.
Hey everybody, it's Ricardo and I am here with Aaron Weber from Sega, who's community manager on Phantasy Star Portable 2, which kind of gives you a clue as to what he brought by today. So Aaron, Phantasy Star Portable 2, new Phantasy Star for the PSP. Talk to us where that fits in, because there have been a couple Phantasy Star games now.
There have been. So Phantasy Star Portable 2 fits in the PSU, the Phantasy Star Universe storyline. So the way that kind of works is you've got Phantasy Star Universe, and then you've got Phantasy Star Portable, the first game that kind of fits in between that game and its expansion. And then finally this game actually takes place 3 years after that. So this is kind of the finale to the storyline that was started by PSU a few years ago.
Now we're obviously in the main hub area of the game, which every one of the Phantasy Stars lately's had. So do you want to talk to us about, what we're going to recognize, maybe some of the new classes, the new types of things that you can do?
Yeah, absolutely. So the game takes place on Cloud 6, PSO was Pioneer 2, and then PSU was the Guardian's Colony. So this is actually like a space resort that is nowhere near the Guardian's Colony. When you're not working for the Guardians this time, you're working for a private security organization known as Little Wing. So Little Wing has certain missions that you'll go on, and that's how you progress the story. But Cloud 6 is actually pretty cool because they've added a lot of different areas. Instead of PSU's feel where you had multiple floors and you had to go from floor to floor, they've gone with a more PSO approach to it, where everything is pretty much on the same floor, and it's very compact, it's very easy to run around to get to where you want to go and then to get back to the mission and have some fun. We have added a new class in this game. It's called the Vanguard. So you've got the Hunters, the Forces, the Rangers for your pure types of combat, whether it's melee, ranged, or magic. And then we've got the Vanguard, which is actually a mix of all three. So it's not the best at any of them, but it's also the jack of all trades. So you can kind of adjust your combat based on who's in the party with you and what kind of play styles would best complement the people you're playing with.
I also see in the options here, extend type. This sounds different.
This is different. This is actually very new. The extend type is one of my favorite features from this game because instead of picking a class and being very limited to just certain sabers, just certain swords, or just certain guns, you can actually choose what type of weapons you want to be able to equip. And so as you can see here, we're actually extending points or extending the weapon types based on points that we earn by leveling up.
And so in terms of modes, I was noticing right before we hopped into the game, there's a few options. Obviously, you talked about the online, but downloadable content has been kind of a staple.
Yes.
So do you want to talk to us about what we can expect in this game, and are there any ties to all the work we put into the previous game?
The first one. Yes, the answer is definitely yes. You can actually take your original character from the first game, take that data and transfer that character into PSP2.
Nice.
And to make the game not entirely easy, if you're a max level character, you're not going to retain your level, but you are going to retain pretty much all of your appearances, and you're going to get a little bonus item as a sort of thank you for playing through the first game whenever you start in PSP2. So yeah, there's a lot of cool stuff planned.
Now, let's dive into a mission and kind of check out how that's going to work.
So yeah, when you get online, you'll be able to play with people all around the world. On the screen here, we're actually showing off a few other nice little tributes to PSO. The weapon he's got there is the Soul Eater, which fans I think will recognize as Kirik's weapon from Phantasy Star Online. In addition to that, we've brought in a number, there's hundreds of new weapons and new items. A lot of them are actually from Phantasy Star Online. We'll bust out the Chain Sword, which I think people will remember as the Chain Sword from PSO. And that's a pretty cool weapon that fans will definitely, yeah, there we go. Still got the traditional sounds going on with it too, so.
Nice.
We've taken pretty much everything from the first Phantasy Star Portable and added it into this game, and then we've doubled the content with all sorts of new stuff. So there's a new level we're running through here, new enemies, new bosses, and there's actually there's glows around certain enemies now, like you can see right there. And the glows let you know that something special is going on with this guy. Like he might drop a rare weapon or he might drop a rare item. And whenever a rare drops now, and anyone that has played the online games is familiar with this, there was always that rush when the red box appears and everyone just piles forward and tries to grab it. And here it actually plays a little noise that lets you know as soon as that rare weapon or the rare item has hit the ground, so everyone will immediately turn and run. But
well, now that we're in the mission, can we check out some of the new gameplay mechanics that you were just mentioning?
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll have him, we're going to block here in just a second as soon as we come on our next wave of monsters, and you'll notice that takes a nice defensive stance with it, yeah, just like that. So if the monsters hit us, not only is it going to do a lot less damage just like that, it might actually do no damage because we're blocking it. So people that can actually time their attacks correctly will find a nice advantage in this game. PSO rewarded you for not mashing down the button and just going crazy with it. It was a matter of finding the rhythm and the flow. And that was the hard part, was in the big battles like Olga Flow. You had to keep your cool and not go nuts. And that was the only way you could win. So this game, just like PSO, if you time out your attacks perfectly, you'll do a lot more damage, and likewise, you can counterattack or you can block at just the right time and get additional damage added onto it.
Now, how about the variety of areas that are going to be in the game? Like, this is new, this is different, it's kind of space station based. What we've seen in the PSOs is a mix of kind of indoor-outdoor.
Yeah.
So how's that work for this game?
This game is very much the same. There is the mix of indoor-outdoor, and there's also the addition of a certain few places. I'm not going to spoil it, but there might be a few either areas or bosses, at least one, that fans of PSO will get a really big grin on their face whenever they see. So we've really done a lot with this game to kind of take the best of PSU, and we've kind of merged the PSO flavor into it. So it's kind of similar to Zero in some ways, but with a more PSU feel and with a lot more content.
Very cool. Now, you mentioned that your data from the original game transfers over. How about the demo that is currently out?
Yeah, the demo should do that as well.
All right, Aaron, I guess the last big question is, when is the game coming out?
Phantasy Star Portable 2 is coming out this September 14th.
Awesome. All right, there you go. September 14th, PlayStation Portable, Phantasy Star Portable 2. If you absolutely gotta, get your appetite wet a little bit, you can either play the original game, which is obviously out, or you can pick up the demo, which is on PSN right now, and that data will transfer over, won't it?
It will.
Well, there you go. That is Phantasy Star Portable 2. Let's go back to the show and see what else is going on.
So Sean, we do a lot of traveling. We like portable games. So
That's
here's
true.
our second daily demo, another PSP game, Nights in the Nightmare. Have you heard of it?
I have heard of the game, however, the extent of my knowledge stops right about there.
It's actually quite complicated. But Atlas came by to kind of give us a rundown of the game, so let's check it out in our second daily demo. Hey everyone, and welcome to our daily demo. I'm joined by Aram from Atlas, and we're here to see Nights in the Nightmare, which was a DS game originally.
2009, now in 2010, it is on PSP.
PSP. Okay, so I remember playing this on the DS. It was a little tricky.
It's a bit different.
Yes. But so you're here to explain us. How does it transition to the PSP?
I'm here to try to explain it. So, Knights of the Nightmare is a mix of bullet hell action and strategic RPG gameplay. And what do I mean by that? Well, right now we're starting here looking at a tactical screen. Let me set it up with the story. You awaken, you are the Wisp.
Yeah.
And you really have no memory and no notion of what your purpose is, but you're drawn to this castle. And over the course of the game, you're introduced to this storyline in which knights were defeated and killed by monsters that have taken over this castle. You, as the Wisp, have the ability to bring these knights back to life, recruit them in your party, and use their abilities to ultimately avenge them and defeat these monsters.
Okay.
You do this in a variety of ways. There's also a main character that you'll take the control of, and one of the big additions to the PSP version is the addition of a third playable character. Each of the main characters offer a different perspective on the game's story. The story is told in non-chronological order. It is dark, non-typical of most Japanese RPGs. It is haunting and emotional and depressing.
Okay.
But that aside, so here we're going to start one of the, I think this is the third mission in the game. The fights are self-contained, they are incredibly tactical, but when you get into it, after you've done your planning, which I would liken to the early stage in the original Rainbow Six game, you basically plan everything out, and here we have our Lance Knight and we have our Warrior. The Warrior, every class in the game has a different attack pattern. Only two of the classes can move, so the Lance Knight's, one of his attacks can actually advance him spaces when we get into the battle. We're also able to look at the enemies we're going to face. The enemies will change from time to time. We'll actually go through multiple rounds in this particular battlefield until we advance. There's a ton of stuff that I will not explain well or have the time to explain it at all, but let's get into the battle.
Yeah, I do remember lengthy tutorials, but once you know what you're doing, it's actually quite cool because there's a lot of depth to it and a lot of strategy.
We definitely want the hardcore gamer to pay the most attention. This is the kind of game that at first it really will have a learning curve for someone who's totally new to RPGs. But it's not a game that's incredibly hard to master. It's just a game that asks you to invest a little bit more than other games. Now there's 60 seconds here at the top. That is our health. We don't get hit if any of our knight, and you can see the Warrior and the Lance Knight here are actually kind of silhouettes. They can't take any damage. The Wisp, which I'm controlling using the analog nub, is actually our character. And these are the enemy attacks, and we want to avoid them. Now, if we get super close to them, you'll actually see I get a blue experience right next to the Wisp. And I'm actually, like the Burnout racing games, you actually get experience for a near miss. To the left here, this indicates to us that the enemy is about to attack. So when the enemy's icon gets up here, each of the three dryads here that we're facing are actually going to unleash their attack, which you saw is a real-time, it's like a shoot-'em-up. It's like an arcade game.
Yeah, because they're dodging. How does it work with the analog stick, like compared to the stylus?
Well, the stylus does give you that immediacy, and you can basically jump from one side of the screen to the other. You actually have the ability to control the speed of your Wisp, and I actually like to think this is much more intuitive because you feel like you're controlling a character. Now let's do an attack, and the attack, and also when we get hit, is when we're charging our attack rather, is when our time and or our health depletes. When this gets to 0, the turn ends, and we have one of 5 or 6, or in this case 26 turns to successfully complete this round. The number of turns we have to complete a battle is based on the difficulty setting. So I'm going to drag the Warrior's weapon over to him and see if we can't hit an enemy without getting hit here. And you'll notice that I'm going to hit nothing here. I'll hit this box and hopefully it'll break open, not even with one hit. There's something here next to action phase. That L represents law. By pressing the R trigger, we're able to switch to chaos phase. This is a somewhat arbitrary mechanism, but basically it prevents us from spamming one phase over the other. And the weapons, which we chose prior to battle, and there's a lot of strategy behind making sure we have a proper law and chaos weapon for the classes that we have on the battlefield. Right now you'll notice that L icon is now in half. If we continue to use a law weapon with our, whichever the appropriate class for the weapon is, it'll become less and less effective in terms of the bonuses that we get. We'll switch to chaos, we'll come up here and we'll grab the Warrior's axe, bring it down here, and hopefully we'll be able to nail this dryad. And here we are, we will hit him. And
It's all slowly coming back to me again.
yeah, so we'll get a bonus chance here. We bring the Wisp over him again. There's a ton of nuance to this game. And again, the game has extensive tutorials, which you definitely alluded to. And it looks like we're not going to hit anyone here with the Lance Knight. Now, the Lance
Purgatory
Knight,
stab.
every class has a unique ability. I can pick those two icons up there. Fast-paced, I know it's hard to keep track of, but we'll go into Chaos Mode and we'll attack with the Lance Knight. And what you'll notice is that the Lance Knight can advance. So we actually just tagged the Dryad, which is appearing. We'll continue to move forward here with the Lance Knight. And this is actually, now you'll notice these the mediums flying off. We can pick those, we can collect those by running over them with the Wisp. Again, it's like a shoot 'em up. A ton of stuff going on at once, but let me kind of wrap it up and sum it up. Essentially, you use a combination of weapons between the two action phases, and you manage the different weapon types and how they match up with the different classes. You'll collect items and weapons over the course of battle, but ultimately you want to clear the battle screen of enemies. And there's this grid here at the end, at the bottom. Every time you finish a battle, you'll go through a new slot. It's like a slot machine, and you'll have the ability to try and pick 4 across or 4 vertically or 4 diagonally. It's an arbitrary system again, but it's a mechanism that offers checks and balances. And when you fill this up, you're able to complete the battle. So you can actually try to not get 4 across until the last possible point, get as much experience as possible, collect as many items as possible, and then you progress to the next scene and you move through the story.
Wow, that's a lot to take.
Yeah, I know it was a lot, and I know I didn't leave you a lot of time to ask questions, but it's one of those games where we ask anyone to pick it up, go through the tutorial, you will not regret it.
All right, so when's the game coming out and on what platform?
It comes out October 19th for PSP, in stores and on the PlayStation Store.
All right, and that was our look at Knights in the Nightmare. Now on with the rest of our show. All right, everyone, it's trivia time, and we've got 4 Shank codes to give away, 2 on the 360, 2 on the PS3, and Sean has the question.
I do have the question. I am the bearer of the trivia question. So here it is. What is the name of Shank's co-op partner in the game? If you think you know the answer, send us an email to onthespot@gamespot.com or click that little green answer trivia module on the page right here.
So that about wraps up another episode. Now remember, tomorrow we're going to have a PlayStation Move Marathon. Sean and I and like the other editors will be playing some kind of mystery move game, I guess.
Mystery move games, plural, I think.
Plural,
Yeah.
okay. And then next Wednesday we are having the WWE event at the Regency Ballroom, is that correct?
That's right, Sophia. We are doing a THQ and GameSpot are teaming up for a roster reveal for the upcoming WWE SmackDown vs. Raw game. And it's actually a community-focused event, like you said.
So if you actually live in the area, you can totally just come on by. Well, first of all, you have to email us at community@gamespot.com for all the details, and you can come hang out with Homer.
Hang out with Homer. Who wouldn't want to hang out with Homer?
Seriously. So for all of us at Today on the Spot, I'm Sophia Tong.
And I'm Sean McInnes.
We'll see you guys next time.
Thanks for watching.
So it looks like the holiday season's picking up. We have Metroid Other M and Valkyria Chronicles 2 coming up this week.
Yep, those are some of the big ones, but to see the entire list, let's take a look at the entire list.